Hi, everybody. Okay, so I tried to do a Facebook Live video just a little while ago, and I was in a doctor's office getting treatment where the internet connection didn't work. And I don't know, I don't know if anybody's even watching this or not, or how this really works. But I was in a doctor's office being treated for chronic depression and chronic anxiety. And I have been being treated since January 17th at the beginning of this year. So, okay, I see one person is watching. Maybe I wait till a couple more people get on. Because the subject matter of what I'm going to talk about is extremely important. And I have not talked about it I've not posted about it on Facebook. Only a few of my friends know. And it's just not something that I wanted to put out there. But now that I have been going through this, I think that it's really important to know that mental illness can happen to anyone. And people don't like to talk about it. I don't even like to use the word mental illness because it reminds me of the word crazy. And I certainly have felt crazy in certain times. So back in January, I started crying uncontrollably for hours on end. I have videos of myself doing that, which are really pretty horrendous to watch. And when I say hours, I mean 6 to 7 hours. One night I cried all night until 4 a.m. in the morning. My sister came over to babysit me. I've had girlfriends come and sit with me, and when I have company, I stop crying. I know I sound like I'm all over the place. I'm used to being on a stage, not on camera. So after trying traditional antidepressant medications and ending up in the ER after every single episode, I heard about something called TMS, which is transcranial magnetic brain stimulation treatments. Usually one course of treatment is 36 treatments. Today I'm over 120 at this point. I have driven to Santa Monica 5 to 6 days of the week since January 17th. It has been the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. And, I wish I had a script. I feel so silly, but it's not silly. So I go for these treatments where they put a helmet on my head that zaps me and pounds my head. It feels like Woody Woodpecker on your head. It doesn't necessarily hurt, but it's certainly not comfortable. But I actually fall asleep, which is not unusual for me because I have fallen asleep during all 5 root canals that I've had. So what the hell? Anyways, so the constant crying that lasts for hours on end has been debilitating, where I can't function sometimes. I mean, I get everything done that I'm supposed to get done, but I literally don't function during those hours. I literally walk around the house just crying, uncontrollably crying. And I'm not talking about the crying like we do after watching a sad movie. It is head to toe, fetal position, sobbing, crying. And I'm not even thinking about anything sad. It just happens. I wake up and within 5 minutes, I am sobbing. And the anxiety part of it, I've had an anxiety disorder ever since my second child was born. And I was on a medication for that, which kept me level for all these 24 years. And then back in January, my brain snapped. It literally just snapped and the medications stopped working. So then we had to play medication tic-tac-toe, which was pretty horrendous. I am not able to, there have been a number of things that have contributed to chronic depression and chronic anxiety that have happened in the last 6 years in my life where, I handled everything. My stepdad died. In 2017, I was diagnosed with something called superior canal dehiscence syndrome, which is an inner ear bone structure thing that prevents me from performing music anymore, which has been a huge loss, one that I did not give permission to be taken away from me. And there is no treatment other than this miraculous surgery where I just found out 2 weeks ago mine is inoperable. I've had 4 specialized CT scans, and I found out just a few weeks ago that it is inoperable. That doesn't mean that I can't sing, I just can't perform because that particular syndrome sends me into horrendous vertigo, vomiting, days on end in bed, and it also causes really bad vestibular issues where my brain is constantly trying to keep me upright. So I've got that thing that's happened to my brain, and then this depression thing that's happened. And throughout, of course, the last few years, my mother got dementia. My aunt died of COVID last year. I watched her die on Zoom. And the pandemic, where I was alone for the entire time. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think that the pandemic had a whole lot to do with it. And now that I look back on it, I can see now that things have opened up and I can be around people more. I'm literally forcing myself, now that most people know that I'm a sober alcoholic. I celebrated 25 years of sobriety last month. I did not get drunk during this time. I did not pick up a drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't take a pill because that wasn't going to help me. So, nor did I want to. I worked way too hard to keep my sobriety. And I'll be damned if this is going to take me down. And what people don't understand about depression, someone said to me, oh, you just need to get a hobby. Okay, well, if I felt like doing any of the hobbies I have, I would do them. It's not a matter of getting a hobby. The psychiatrist that's treating me won't even let me get a cat because he said that the last thing I need is one more thing to take care of. Someone suggested I get a roommate. Oh my God, the idea of having someone in my house all the time. I can't. It's really hard for me to have, the anxiety just is crippling. And the medication I'm on now doesn't work nearly as well as the one I had to go off of. So I'm feeling I'm feeling lost. And the feelings that come along with depression, I get assessed twice a week by the psychiatrist, and there's this list of questions. Do you cry more than normal? Yes. Are you interested in, has your, I love this question. Have you lost interest in sex? Okay, well, that happened a long time ago. So that question is kind of like null and void to me. Okay, I can still have a sense of humor through this. I have to, because one of the last questions is, are you suicidal? Now, the answer to that is no. Not once have I ever felt like killing myself. But I have a new appreciation, for the lack of a better word, for people who suffer from depression, who decide to exercise the option of not living. And I want to live. I just don't want to live like this. So I am doing everything I can, which will now include, I'm trying to find a grief support group, because my therapist and psychiatrist and another friend of mine have all mentioned, Lisa, you've had so much loss, and there's so much pressure on me in my life right now with my mother with dementia, who never remembers when I'm there. You know, I post all those pretty pictures of me and my mom, as we all do on Facebook, where nobody really knows the story that goes on behind that picture. My mom, one-on-one with me, is loving, kind, and is my mother, and very sweet. When there are other people around and she has an audience, she puts me down, she calls me fat. By the way, I've lost 25 pounds, thank you very much. And just yesterday, she hates my haircut. So she likes to take pop shots at me. And when you're feeling vulnerable and feeling like this, and by the way, that's been my whole life. And I already spent thousands of dollars on therapy to try to have a good relationship with her. And in her dementia, all that stuff that was worked on has come back. And so that takes a toll. And the psychiatrist wants me to stay away from my mom because she's such a trigger. And that's hard for me to say because, you know, we love our moms. But there's always shit in families, right? The shit that we don't talk about. People post these happy pictures of their family. What's not posted is maybe the shithole fight that happened before that picture was taken. And there's a lot of crap in families that we don't talk about. And I keep showing up because she is my mom. And I'm the only one of the 3 kids that shows up. I don't show up as much as I used to because I'm trying to do what's best for me. And I've actually sat and cried with my mom and told her what's wrong with me. And in the next 10 minutes, she'll ask me, Lisa, why are you crying? Have you seen a doctor? Like, I've gone through the whole thing. She doesn't remember even within 5 minutes of what I've just said to her. So that's one part of it. With depression, you feel worthless, useless. I feel like a burden where, I mean, who wants to listen to this all the time? And this is nothing. This is just like emotional because I'm talking to a camera right now. But I actually stopped calling people because I felt like a burden, and people had their own problems with the pandemic and losing businesses and all of that sort of thing. And so I stopped calling. I know that I'm not worthless. Matter of fact, I'm a pretty great gal. And I know that. Intellectually, I know that. But when you are in it, when you are depressed, you don't feel that way. My kids are really worried. They don't know what the hell to do with me. And they tend to stay away. And I understand that. The littlest thing will set me off, like just a text message. My friend, my very dear friend, texted me the other night and said, Lisa, let's go someplace quiet for dinner. My anxiety level shot through the roof. There was no way I could go to dinner. And I called her and she said, well, I'll be happy to pick something up. What would you like to eat? I could not make a decision. It was too much. It was too much for me. I didn't care. I didn't give a shit what I ate. And I told her that. I said, whatever you pick up is great. Whatever's fine. It's just fine. And she came over and we spent a couple hours and it was great. And she has been through this entire thing with me. And I am so grateful to have my friend Melissa Waugh be understanding and patient and always there for me. And she has 90-year-old plus parents that she's also taking care of. So I'm incredibly grateful to have a friend like her. But in talking about mental illness, I actually told a friend of mine exactly what I needed. I said, sometimes I'm not able to pick up the phone to call. And I need to FaceTime because then it makes me feel like there's someone here present, talking to me in person. And that person couldn't do that. That person said, oh, you know me, but if you need me, just call me. So I specifically asked for what it was that I needed, and that person wasn't able to understand exactly how bad I was the day that I called her. Pretty hysterical. 2 weeks ago, I was so bad that I called the psychiatrist and said, just lock me up. Just lock me up. And he asked me again, he goes, well, do you feel like killing yourself? I'm like, no, but I'm homicidal if you don't fix me. And he said to me, Lisa, if you go to a psych ward, all they do is put you on a 72-hour suicide hold. Well, I'm not stupid. I would rather sit home and watch Netflix than be in a psych ward because they don't have popcorn. Okay, see, humor. So I've had to learn what it really means to have mental illness and how debilitating depression and anxiety, and they go hand in hand. I joined Facebook groups where I only lasted about a week or two because, in all honesty, I really didn't give a shit about how anybody else felt. I've lost my ability to have any empathy for other people right now. I know I'll get it back, but I honest to God don't care how anybody else feels because I don't have the capacity in my brain to care. Okay, this is really hard. This is really hard to put myself out there like that because I've always been the gal that gets shit done. And you know what's really funny is that I still get shit done. I've taking care of my parents' company through this entire time since my dad died. Most people don't know. We have a wire and steel manufacturing company in Compton that I managed to keep going through the pandemic, got the PPP loans, screamed at bank managers, and I got what we needed so that I could keep employees employed where they could still feed their families. One thing that I can't stand hearing is, Lisa, you're one of the strongest people I know. Pardon me, but at this point, I just want to say, fuck you. And then I rethought that actually last night. I tried to turn it into a positive, that, yeah, I am strong. I really am, even though I'm a mess. I get up every morning, I get in the shower, I drive to Santa Monica. And by the way, the treatments make me extremely exhausted. And I have a constant headache. And sometimes I come home and I just have to sleep for 2 hours. Actually, right now I'm supposed to be picking up my mom to take her to the dentist to get a crown put on. So I'll have to be off of here in a couple seconds. I did make a YouTube video that as soon as I upload it, I'll post it, of how the treatment works. I did that today. And I also might post one of the videos of the crying. I think I've been afraid to talk about this because I don't want people to think I'm crazy, because I associated mental illness with being crazy. And I'm not crazy. I asked the doctor yesterday, I go, am I like bipolar? And he goes, no, you are not bipolar. He said, however, the last medication we tried made you hypomanic. And I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, when you were screaming in the car and you had to be helped up to my office by the stranger that helped you up to the office. That happened 3 weeks ago. Today is actually my second day without crying, even though, okay, this is just emotion. I'm not sobbing. I had a swab DNA test done, not DNA, what do you call it? Genetic test done to see what kind of drug I could possibly take. And the truth of the matter is, I honestly think that I'll be able to pull myself out of this with the TMS treatments, with the anti-anxiety medication. Now that AA meetings have opened up in person, I have made myself go to more nighttime meetings because being alone is my worst enemy. I actually went to a Pills Anonymous meeting last night where I was asked to be the leader, and I wasn't a pill person. But I am an alcoholic, so a drug is a drug is a drug. And it was a great meeting. It was me, 4 guys, and a Zoom hybrid thing. And it was exactly what I needed. So now I'm starting to be able to, it's not easy though. It's like, I'm tired of self-helping myself. I am exhausted. I'm tired of going to AA meetings. I'm tired of going to the doctor. I'm tired of trying medications. I'm tired of talking to a therapist. I'm just fucking tired. And I want to get back to the Lisa that used to be. I don't know if I'll ever get her back. Maybe just a different version. I don't know. But I'll be damned if I'm going to get taken down by this. So if this helps anybody, that's why I'm doing it. Because I kept it a secret from everybody except a few people for all this time. It's been 8 months now. It kind of started happening back during the holidays. but I didn't start treatment until January. But if I can help someone else so that you know that you're not alone, you can call me. That part about me not caring about, it's not really true. I mean, if you call me, obviously I'm going to talk to you. And my number is 818-388-2787. And if any goddamn hacker takes that and does anything with it, I swear to God, I will come after you full on force. Or you can message me. One of the things I was going to say was I joined all these Facebook groups, like the TMS group. I joined depression and anxiety. And then what I found out was like people just were like freaking arguing all the time or blaming it on politics or blaming it on this, blah, 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 blah. And it actually caused me more anxiety. So I unjoined all those groups. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the doctor, the therapist, and the friends that know, because I didn't want to be all over the place. I don't need anybody else's medical opinion, because we all know what opinions are. Everybody's got one, right? Just like everybody's got something else. So I've learned how to protect myself in that area. I also learned how to stay off of the internet doctor. He's not a very good guy. You can look up certain things, but what fits for one person does not fit for another. So I just have to do what's right for me and keep suiting up and showing up as I've been taught in Alcoholics Anonymous is where I learned that. And I still believe that Alcoholics Anonymous and my faith in God that I never lost, my faith in God is what is going to pull me through this. So for all the people that are watching this, I really appreciate it. And you could keep me in your prayers for sure. And I hope that if someone else is watching this and feels the same way I do or is going through the same thing, please reach out or know that you are not alone. And that while killing yourself may be an option, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. This is temporary. It's just going on a whole lot longer than I want. My mom used to say, I used to ask her questions and she'd say, well, God only knows, but he's not telling. So apparently God hasn't given me the timeline yet of when this is going to be over. But maybe by doing things like this, I can help myself and help some other people. So God bless all of you. And so there's your happy story for, I don't even know what day it is. Sorry. I have to laugh at something. Anyways, I gotta go because my mother is, she doesn't know she's waiting, but she's waiting for me. So with that, I'm going to sign off and God bless all of you.